Welcome to Maison Otaku. Come in, have a seat.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Mike.
And we've got a great episode lined up for you, but first, a special occasion.
Huh?
Mike, you're older now.
Yep.
About
28.
28. I could be harvesting your organs and selling them on the black market for quick cash, but I decided instead to get you a present, Mike.
Oh, sweet. Wouldn't get much for them anyway. Let's see what we got here.
What we have there is closed with double-sided tape.
Yeah.
Scotch tape is expensive.
Ah. The hell, sweet. Yeah, these are pretty cool. This is First Publishing's release of Lone Wolf and Cub in 32-page format.
Yeah. Lone Wolf and Cub, great manga. One of the truly good samurai pieces that's not full of like fantasy stuff and anything. It's actually really well based in the period. And this particular printing is really cool because it's got forewords in every issue by comic book legend and noted crazy person Frank Miller.
Yep.
But yeah, spotted that. Thought you'd enjoy it a lot.
Oh, yeah, thanks, man.
Plus, I think it kind of ties in neatly with what we're aiming to do to this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, another great company that was really good about releasing stuff like this was, I'm sure you all know the company Dark Horse.
Not from the Katy Perry song.
No.
No. This is Dark Horse well before that happened.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's like, great Star Wars releases, tons of manga releases in 32-page as well as graphic novel format. And we're going to be talking about one of their big ones, isn't that right, Justin?
Oh, absolutely. The longest running manga in the States. 46 volumes and counting as of August 16th this year.
Yep.
And the anime has been released by more companies than any other anime in the States. So
yeah,
stick with us. We're about to make some wishes come true.
Yep. Yep. Now, we are, of course, talking about the series Oh My Goddess, and it is Oh My Goddess.
Not Oh My Goddess. There's an interesting piece of history there. And of course leads back to the creator Kosuke Fujishima being a typical middle-aged Japanese guy.
Yep, as many of them do, and turned out to be the case. In fact, they like a lot of puns and wordplay jokes. So when they were going through the licensing process of bringing the manga over here, they saw the original title, which was Megami-sama, which literally translates to the exclamation, "Ah, a goddess."
Yes. And they took that and thought, okay, clearly, being an old Japanese guy, he was going for a pun on Oh My God. So they translated it to Oh My Goddess. Of course, they had to get his permission to use that as the English title for the English release. And his first question was, why did you change the first syllable?
Yeah.
And their response was, well, we thought you were going for this.
Yeah, and his reaction was, as he looks at it, he's like, no? But heck, I wish I had. I like that.
Yes. As it turns out, Kosuke Fujishima liked a lot of things done in the States with the series. We'll get through that as we go on. But in reality, it's a fun franchise, right, Mike?
No, yeah, definitely. For those of you not familiar with this series, or in fact the magical girlfriend subgenre at all, it basically goes like this. This is Schmuck Everyman. He is painfully average and, depending on the series, has few to no redeeming qualities. And one day, a beautiful girl comes along, who also, by the way, has magical powers. And then, for no good goddamn reason, beautiful magical girl falls head over heels in love with Schmuck Everyman. Hilarity ensues.
Yes. Now, this should not be confused with the harem subgenre. The harem subgenre is Schmuck Everyman has to choose or is pursued by a multitude of girls. In the magical girlfriend subgenre, Schmuck Everyman has to deal with the insanity and hilarity that ensues when magical girlfriend comes into his life.
Also, this genre is a lot better than the other one overall.
Frequently. It's actually quite odd because while you will often find places where the two genres overlap, they're still distinctly different because Magical Girlfriend so often deals with the collateral damage. So, Oh My Goddess has a very large cast of characters that's constantly growing, and most of the characters from very early on come back, become more important characters, sometimes for a brief time, sometimes just getting their own little side story. We're still getting goddesses introduced. Yeah. We just recently had Chrono reintroduced. She's actually an Easter egg in the movie where she's introduced before she's ever brought into the manga. But you don't learn that she's introduced then because they only call her by name once. So that's kind of a fun thing if you're a hardcore fan. But when you're discussing the characters, it's really best to start with the beginning, which is Keiichi Morisato.
Yep, your schmuck everyman. Basically just a down-to-earth motorhead. Goes to a prestigious technical college in Japan. Like I said, he's your every college student.
Yeah. He's a very intelligent young man. He's very good with his hands, very hard worker. Interestingly enough, one of the few non-mainlander characters in anime that's endured over the years.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's a Hokkaido native, which is fun because he frequently refers back to, people in my small town back on the island.
Yeah.
And it gives a really great differing perspective. And it's probably something that's just that little bit of Fujishima's own rustic sense of being.
Yep.
And, it's only because he is such a hard-working, decent, honest, salt-of-the-earth guy that he ends up with the image of all that's perfect in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Belldandy.
Yep. Yeah, essentially, the, Yggdrasil or the Master Force or the System Force, depending which translation you look at, essentially God, decided, you know what, this guy's getting a lot of crap he doesn't deserve, because he's a pretty cool guy. So we're going to send someone from our Goddess Relief Office, and yes, that's what it's called, down to grant him any one wish he wants.
Yeah. It could have been wealth, it could have been fame, it could have been the destruction of the world, though they don't recommend it.
No.
And he thinks it's all one big joke.
Yep. So he, thinking that, the guys are pulling his leg, he's not good with the ladies, he doesn't have a girlfriend, so they're like, yeah, they're pulling a prank on me. So then, light bulb, I got it. If you're really a goddess, I wish for you to be my girlfriend. But since it's not real, then shit gets real.
And shit stays real for 24 years. Genuinely, it's one of the longest running sitcoms, really, you can call it, in manga and in anime. There have been four different film interpretations of the franchise. The classic OAVs, the great movie, which is very near and dear to my heart, Hi Honey, and the solid TV series and its follow-up, second season.
I mean, it's nothing special, but it's not bad.
Oh. And keep in mind, when we say nothing special in Oh My Goddess, it's still something pretty special.
Yeah, it's better than most things that came out in Japan that year, regardless of its mediocrity compared to the rest of its own franchise.
And one of the great things about the show is there's not really anything wishy-washy about it. It's very,
not too much,
this is what it is. And the key relationship of the show is Keiichi and Belldandy, a couple from the beginning. There's no doubt that this is your couple. These are two characters that love each other.
Yep.
And yes, her crazy family, her rambunctious, slightly misguided, best of intentions, older sister, Erd. Erd is best described actually in one of the later volumes of the manga by the new goddess Chrono as being the confuser of ends and means.
That's about right.
And her, nowhere near the best of intentions, completely self-centered brat of a younger sister schooled. They move in. Keiichi's younger sister Megumi moves in, then gets her own apartment, joins up with Nakomi Tech, and the cast just keeps building and building. And everyone around them is in some way a form of havoc.
Yep. Yeah, basically Keiichi gets maybe like about a volume worth of wedded bliss with Belldandy before everyone starts pouring into his house.
And his basic reaction to everything is, why are these people in my house?
Yeah.
Why are these people in my life?
Yeah.
And that's really the whole theme of it. It's very Archie Bunker in his recliner.
Oh, God. Man, that works on too many levels.
Yeah. It's his beautiful, sweet, slightly naive housewife and his sarcastic, cynical, I just want things to be normal in the way I remember them, and the way I wish they were.
Yeah.
Granted, Archie Bunker had to deal with the fact that things were no longer 1955.
Oh, and that Edith neither looks nor sounds like Belldandy.
Very true.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Guys like us, we had it made.
Those were the days.
What you see is what you get. You are a meathead.
And Keiichi has to deal with the fact that, well, apparently goddesses and tree spirits and giant wolves that will devour the universe exist, and that's the sort of shit I'm going to have to deal with from now on.
Yep.
While passing my technical courses.
Yeah, how many years has he been in college now?
Not many, actually. Now he's actually an undergrad, and he just kind of works at the college and doesn't really take classes. So time does pass. Over 40-odd volumes, time has passed.
At about an Archie pace, apparently.
Yeah, just about there. And that's another great comparison. It's just one of those fantastic, you always come back to these characters, shows / comics.
Well, yeah, and I really think to sum it up, you put it best when you said, "Oh My Goddess" is the literary equivalent of comfort food.
It is. You sit down with a volume, or you sit down with a couple of episodes, and you're not watching it because you're waiting for that next big twist, that next discovery. Instead, you're watching it because at the end, everything's going to be back to normal. Belldandy's going to be making dinner. Keiichi's going to be wondering, could things really get any better? And Erd is going to be passed out drunk in front of the TV.
Yes. Yeah, it's not gonna, blow your mind like Ghost in the Shell. It's not gonna get your heart pounding like Bubblegum Crisis, but it will invariably leave a smile on your face.
And there's really no finer aim, and I think that's really the aim Fujishima's had all the years. I know one of my absolute favorite things about the franchise as a whole is in the film. And the film is beautiful film, works on its own, despite, honestly, the OAVs working a little bit better as a series, the TV series doing a little bit more with the manga source material, the manga containing acres upon acres and acres and acres of great stories, but the film has probably the most poignant thing in the whole franchise.
Yeah, they do kind of ramp it up to almost Akira levels of grandioseness.
Yeah. And at almost the end of the film, before the big battle scene that's kind of redundant, and the big song scene that wraps up the battle scene, but right near the end, there's this great moment where Belle and Kay walk through the gate, and I won't spoil too much of why there's a gate or any of that, but the question posed to them is, you'd walk through the gate knowing the consequence. The consequences being two beings of two separate worlds that are in love with each other are meant to pass through this gate. And if there is any doubt in their hearts that they will stay together forever, they will be sent to the absolute other ends of the universe to be forever separated. And Keiichi, Schmuck Everyman, says,
F it.
You know, we're both a little scared, but we know the consequences, and no matter what happens, I'm not letting go of her hand. And that really sums up just the faith in all that this, not only all that these characters stand for, but the faith in all that this show stands for. Family, love, and comfort.
Yeah, definitely.
That runs through the whole franchise, and it's beautiful.
Oh yeah. Kosuke Fujishima is not only one of my favorite artists out there, he's probably one of the more influential ones on my own art style. You want things that are... Well, an artist that can go from, flowing, pretty almost fashion designs a lot of times, to very technical drawings of vehicles and pretty much any odd contraption he can... If it's an obscure device, he's probably drawn it about 20 times at least.
Yes. And he says routinely, he's drawing everything he loves. He's like Masamune Shirow, like Go Nagai, like Leiji Matsumoto, like Hayao Miyazaki even in his art days.
Oh yeah.
He simply says, I draw what I love. And what I love is beautiful women, pretty clothes, fast cars, and interesting mechanical devices.
Yep. Yeah, and from this, he kind of stems into an artistic jack of all trades, basically. Yeah. You name it, he can draw it, and usually pretty beautiful and/or detailed.
And if none of that has encouraged you to give Oh My Goddess a try, and you very well should, then we'll just end with this very beautiful image of Erd in her usual day wear.
Yep. So, a brief note on collecting this here. You remember we talked about acts of devotion before. This is... If you want the complete Oh My Goddess, you better be rich and or young.
Yes. First off, manga. That's how it started out here. Started out in the 36-page comic book format, and not particularly well titled in that particular variety. I mean, you had, oh shoot, they were doing that nonsensical Volume 1, Issue 8.
Yeah, they did that a lot, and then even when you get into the manga, graphic novels, they do that annoying thing where this volume contains, and then it's a bunch of out-of-order parts of the original manga. It at least tells you which one it is, usually.
Which they undid in later printings and gave us a straight chronological release. Only the second printing of which actually had the numbers on the spines.
Yep. Yeah, so you had no numbers. You had actually two different releases of the graphic novels where each equivalent volume contained different excerpts from the original manga. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. But they're fantastic because they're a nice, big size, good artwork. Yes, it's left to right, but
who cares?
Doesn't matter. Great translation, lots of notes in the back, and Dark Horse, being the great company of that, have gone back, not only reissued the older volumes in the right-to-left format, but are continuing to issue new volumes as they're printed in the right-to-left format. So you can have all 45 volumes and counting in the right-to-left format if you're willing to pay that's 400
a lot.
That's $450 right there.
Yep. And that's just for that release.
That's just for that release of the manga. Because Because now we could get into all the different
Yep.
film adaptations of
Oh, yeah.
guys.
Yep. OVA VHS release is probably going to be one of the easier things you can pick up. There was a Laserdisc release. I have a copy of that. Those are a bit harder to come by, as we found out.
Those are very difficult to come by. Reportedly, there's also a Laserdisc release of the film, but we cannot confirm nor deny that. However, if you can confirm or deny that there is, in fact, the Laserdisc of the Oh My Goddess movie, we will gladly give you all of Mike's money for it.
I'm running out of all of my money.
I know you're running out of all of your money. But, aside from that, the DVDs of the OAV are actually one of the scarcest things because they came at the tail end of Animego's releases stateside, which was a real shame. They did a beautiful release. They did a final anniversary edition for the guys, the license is running up, period, and then said, we're done. And you can be prepared to spend upwards of $30 a disc on that one.
Which, as I mentioned, is still not as bad as trying to get the last volumes of Urusei Yatsura, at least.
Not as bad, but they're climbing. That's one of the scariest things. They're climbing. As are the VHSs of the film, which is unusual because you don't really want the VHSs of the film because the film was a digital production with painted cells.
Yep, I've never even seen the VHS release of that.
Yeah, it's, again, scarce, but, so it's climbing, but only climbing because it's scarce, not climbing because it's as good a release as the slipcover, jeweled, remastered, surround sound, holographic DVD, which is a fantastic release. Also collectible, also out of print, the Mini Goddesses.
Yep.
Probably the finest super deformed series out there. Great artwork, very fun. You will feel bad for poor Ganchan.
Yeah.
That rat, that son of a bitch.
Yup. Well, I mean, then you, of course, have the newer TV series, which relatively easy to find.
Relatively easy to find, but also a very unusual point. It was picked up originally by Media Blasters and released as part of their Anime Works line, but they elected not to pick up Flights of Fancy, which was the second season. As I recall, if I recall correctly, ADV picked up Flights of Fancy.
I think that's right.
And then ADV folded into Sentai Filmworks and that whole morass. So Funimation bought up everything, and now Funimation has the distribution rights. You can get thin pack complete editions of the TV series, both the first TV series and Flights of Fancy, for relatively cheaply, that are complete. However, I like the Anime Works issuing of the TV series. It had a lot of good stuff on the discs. The discs had a really good format, good menus, good subtitles, just good stuff through and through. Great one to collect for the sake of having a good version of the TV series.
Yep. Well, and I think one of the best things we can wrap up this session on is just talking about all the tons of other Oh My Goddess merchandise there is out there, because they really pull the Simpsons.
Yes. Because we're dealing with an almost universally popular, because there's so little to dislike about the show.
Yep.
A universally popular franchise that's been going for more than 20 years. There's merch.
Yep.
There's merch everywhere.
Yep, you have, posters, wall scrolls, tons of resin kits, both kid-friendly and not.
Yes. Don't search resin kits.
if you have little ones around you.
Yeah. Or if you have certain prurient objections. At least do it with a safe filter.
I'll put it this way, very, very brief anecdote. I came home one day and my mom was going on e2046.com, a place that sells resin kits, and she was looking for some Oh My Goddess stuff, and all I heard her exclaim was, "God damn it, Belle Dandy, put your clothes on."
Which is really quite shocking, considering Well, you saw the picture of Erd.
Yeah.
And resin kits, PVC kits, cold cast figures and kits. She's the single most figured character in all of anime.
Oh yeah, easily.
And part of that's, of course, down to the fact that there are so many different costumes and outfits and slight tweaks to the character design over the years. And everyone knows who she is. She was on top of the female character poll in New Type magazine for relatively a long time. I think almost a decade. She was the #1 ranked female character.
Not too surprising.
So, everywhere. She is everywhere. She's on PS2.
Yeah. We were doing some research about this to try and confirm the Laserdisc release of the movie. Apparently, there's a PS2 game of this we came across.
Yeah. And not just, what you'd think, which would be like the trivia games for Dreamcast.
Yeah, or like the 2D, heavily texted adventure games. This is a full 3D thing.
Yeah, it looks kind of almost, not Wild Arms.
I was getting kind of a Dragon Quest almost.
Yeah. So, if you've played this before, send us a message. What's it like? What's it about? There seems to be an original character on the back of the box that we have no idea who that is. It's exciting. It's going to be a fantastic Sisyphean task to discover everything there is. And it's going to cost you a lot.
Yep.
Because if there's one thing we can caution you about collecting Oh My Goddess, because it's a visible series with so many people collecting it, with so little that's truly rare and high quality, it's going to hurt.
Yep.
Probably, with the exception of Miyazaki film, or Ghibli films, it's the highest average cost per cell, if you're a cell collector, out on the market. And Mike, as your bill at Art-Toons can attest.
Yeah, they still own my soul for another year.
Yeah. Got it down to a year.
Yes.
Congrats.
So now we'd like to bring you to our recommendation segment, and Justin has a really off-the-wall piece for you here.
Absolutely. Wanted to kind of shift gears after all the fantasy comedy to fantasy comedy. And I'm talking about Dragon Half. I love Dragon Half. I love Dragon Half.
Justin
I love Dragon Half.
Yeah.
The great thing about this is it's funny. There is not a single frame of the Dragon Half anime that was not devoted to making it funny. There's no attempt at a cohesive story. There's no attempt at a character arc. There is simply a girl who's the daughter of a dragon and a knight. The knight was sent to kill the dragon, fell in love with the dragon. Dragon happened to have a female form. It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. This is a show whose ending theme is Beethoven's Fifth, but it's a song about how they like fried eggs.
Yep.
And that is how absurd it is. And of course, the king of the land wants the dragon dead, but he kind of wants the dragon girl dead, but he kind of wants the dragon for himself. Again, doesn't make sense. It's just completely screwball. It's whatever the art director wanted to draw at that moment, and it is funny. And it's super deformed art that's actually done right.
More or less. It kind of does pop in between realistic body type, comedic style to straight up mascot style SD. Yeah. And it doesn't even bother it with oh, we're popped into an alternate SD reality. No, it's just they just shift art styles depending on the tone.
Yeah, and they do that art style shift all the time. There's a great segment where the lead character Mink has to fight her way into a tournament to prove it, and the guardian who determines whether or not you are qualified to fight in the tournament actually is in almost a Fist of the North Star gritty, cross-hatched, realistic art style right before Mink super deformed punches as the creature she has to fight, and he's back to just the normal style. Oh, okay, you're good.
Yeah.
It's wonderfully timed. It has quite possibly the greatest knight character in all of anime, who is the great Damaramu. Who will ever regret this?
Yes. Also voiced by one of the few talented voice actors ADV had.
Yes. The ADV dub, and this was a very early AD Vision release.
Yes.
That I don't believe they reissued. They may have done it on DVD, but probably not.
I think they did, but it's kind of hard to find.
Yeah, all of it is hard to find. In fact, the manga may or may not have been released stateside, but you're going to have an even harder time finding that because it was a little blue. There's a lot of cheeky play in the film and the OAV. The manga just runs straight to, and now some boobs.
Yeah. It's just about a hair shy of being straight up hentai, from what I know about it.
But both the dub is very well done. The sub is hysterical. There's not even enough dialogue that your friends that complain about having to read their TV shows will be bothered because there's just that little dialogue.
And you really do want to watch this one with friends.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you can get a group of people together, toss this into the VCR, they will have the most fantastic time, and they will be quoting it forever.
Mostly Damaramu. He's basically Dragon Ball Z abridged Nappa before that was a thing.
Yes. If you like Nappa in DBZ abridged, you will love Damaramu as much as I love Dragon Half. I love Dragon Half almost as much as I love Gun Frontier.
Yeah.
And with that,
we have again established that Leiji Matsumoto is superior to something else.
Yes.
So that means it's time for us to end. But before we do, on a very quick note, first weekend of June, starting on Thursday, I will be at a local convention, Colossalcon, down in Sandusky at the Kalahari Resort. I recommend you go down there and join me. Very fun con.
Very fun con. The Otaku Flea Market on Sunday is a great place to find a lot of the oddball things we talk about, like Dragon Half. I found the Cromartie High School manga there last year, or year before. Great place, great fun, plus a water park.
Oh yeah.
Indoor water park. Swim up bars.
Yep. And I mean, the whole con is one big party, which you think I would talk crap about, and I probably would have if I didn't experience it myself, but it's really fun. I'm not too into that kind of thing, but there's nightly raves, there's panels going all day long, viewing rooms, everything you need.
It's one of the few cons where you can just sit down on a couch in any random place and watch them. I got to see the Detective Conan Lupin the Third crossover film at Colossalcon one year, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that. So, it is time for us to end, though. So, this is Mike.
And Justin, saying enjoy what you watch.
And share what you enjoy. Damn.
Get down.